Howdy, everybody. Here we are, Tuesday. I have to think what day it is. The 22nd, 21st. One more day of school, and it's over. This is going to be the last lecture for this class, Humanities 2. We've been doing film for the last week and a half or so. Hopefully you got all your assignments in, because everything was due on Monday. Get your journals in, get that last paper in. I know some of you had trouble. Hopefully you all found those documentaries on Canopy. If not, well, school's out tomorrow. Anyway, give me a week on grading. Before final grades are due, I got to read a lot of papers and go through it and be as fair as I can. So please have patience on your final grade. It takes me about 6 or 7 days to do the whole thing. Anyway, so be that as it may, I have it in check Canvas this morning to see if everybody got their assignments yet. I'll be doing that shortly. So if a lot of people are going to be, and I've had some panicky text about not getting the papers done, or they didn't see the announcements, I don't know what to tell you, because the announcements are made. You're supposed to look at the announcements often. The assignment was made over a week ago. You have plenty of time to do it. I have cut some people some slack, but you will lose points if things come in late. But be that as it may, get in everything by tomorrow, everything. And I won't mark you late on the papers if they come in tomorrow. But if they come in after that, absolutely, this class is over. Anyway, I hope you guys got something out of this class. I know it was a little discombobulating having to do the whole class online, which wasn't designed for that. We never really got a chance to cover some topics I usually like to cover, but we didn't get too much into the book either. Hopefully you rented your books and you could get your return the rentals. So many things that we do in class: show movies, show documentaries, film clips, have discussions. It was all online. We did the best we can. Hopefully you got something out of the class and it wasn't too tough. I've got everything graded except for obviously the new papers, and I think I'm still working on the literary papers. It takes me 3 or 4 days to grade everything. Anyway, that's all. It's all a work in progress. Have patience. The final grades will get there. This is the new world order. Everything's online now. It's going to be online through the fall too. So whatever classes you're taking at Shasta College, it's all online. And maybe I'll see some of you in my film class, because I'll be doing two film classes in Humanities 4. Anyway, that starts August, I think, 17th. Anyway, so the wrap up today, how do you wrap up 120 years of cinema? Especially when you only had a week to cover it all. You can't. So I would just say this. Movies are our collective art form. It takes an audience to see movies. And now guess what, folks? The movie theaters are closed. So does that mean cinema is going to change? It's already changing. When you stream a movie by yourself on your computer or on your home screen, it's a different experience than going to the movie theaters and seeing it on the big screen. What's going to happen? I don't know. It's going to be a different way to do things. Hopefully we'll come out of this pandemic and it'll go back the way we used to go, but it's going to be a while. Some colleges now are saying no classes until 2022 in the classroom. So we're in this for a while. Have patience and all that good stuff. So what can you say about films that I'm passionate about? The new cinema right now I'm not so passionate about. You could call it my generation, whatever, but I can't get all excited about another superhero movie. I don't read. I'm too old to read comic books. I read them when I was a kid, but I don't really care about comic books, and so it's not my world. But I look at the movies. I watch most of them. I just started streaming some new ones last night. You guys seen this thing called The Warrior Nun? It's interesting. It's based on, I think, a graphic novel, and it's about a nun who's a superhero. She's a warrior. She's not a pacifist nun. Evidently, I've only seen 2 episodes. Anyway, so that's the world we're living in now. Lots of superheroes, lots of people wanting to be superheroes, flawed superheroes, people who don't know what to do with their powers. That's the world we live in, because we're in a desperate position in our culture now where we're looking for heroes to save the day. And a lot of these flawed superheroes can't save the day because they're flawed. They're too human. Superman, remember, is only partially. He's not really human. His parents were not. He's not of this world. Whereas Batman and the rest of them, and Spider-Man, they were born here. And Batman's not a superhero, by the way. He's just a guy who works out a lot at the gym because he's got to be really flexible to be bouncing around those buildings at night. Batman's just a super rich vigilante, essentially. Anyway, be that as it may, so many movies now are being released to DVD, not DVD, I'm sorry, that's old school, to streaming that didn't want to be there. Example, Chris Nolan has a new movie out. He doesn't want to release it on to the. They're trying to figure out. It's a big budgeted movie, you know, one of the usual Chris Nolan kind of budgets. You know who he is. He did the Batmans. He did what was the World War II one that came out 2 years ago? I already forgot the name of it. His movies are always very complex and they're always very high budget movies. He has a new one out. They don't know how to release it yet because he wants it released in the movie theaters, which he made it for. He doesn't want it released on the small screen, which is probably going, or they're going to just have to shelve it until we can go back to movies. That's the dilemma. Tom Hanks just made a movie called Greyhound, made it for the big screen. It's getting released on the small screen, I think, this month. It will lose a lot of its effect. And I'm not sure how they get their money back on that. How do you get your money back when you're streaming on Netflix and it only costs the average person $7 to stream and you made a $200 million movie? I'm not sure how you get your money back or if you do. So I think there's going to be a paradigm shift for this pandemic. We're going to have films, I think more modest films. In my case, that's better. I like human stories on a human scale. Mostly I watch lots of foreign films because they don't have the endless Hollywood blockbuster mentality that we do. And some of my favorite films this year were highly regarded. Maybe you've seen some of these, like Parasite from South Korea. That won the Academy Award for Best Movie. First time it's ever happened that a foreign film won for Best Movie, and it's really a clever, well-deserved win, I think. Another movie, The Lighthouse, just a 2-person character study in black and white with William Dafoe and is it Robert Pattinson, the guy from the Twilight? I think he's in Twilight, right? He's grown up. He's turning into a pretty good actor, actually. Modest film. These 2 guys at the turn of the century, the other century, the 20th century, not the 21st. They're living in a lighthouse. They're taking care of the lighthouse. And I don't know if you've seen it. It's in black and white. It looks great, but it's definitely got a lot of homoerotic underlying underpinnings. Do you know what that means, folks? That means 2 guys living in a lighthouse are going to get kinky and kooky with each other, possibly. Anyway, sexually. The other one that was great, I loved it, was called Pain and Glory. Pedro Almodovar, the great Spanish director who's he makes his movies in Spain. He doesn't want to come to Hollywood. And it was in Spanish, folks. You got to read the subtitles. It was nominated for many Academy Awards and starred Antonio Banderas. Maybe you know who that is. and he plays a filmmaker who's having a kind of a crisis of faith, of his creative faith, and he's also homosexual in it, and very intriguing personal story. Um, no special effects, no superheroes, just real human beings trying to deal with their stuff. And so maybe Hollywood will have to scale it down and start doing more modest stories, possibly. Maybe that's not your cup of tea. Maybe you're used to all the special effects and all the CGI. I think you're going to be disappointed because you're not going to be able to see this stuff at the movie theater, and it just doesn't look as good on the computer screen or your smart TV. Anyway, so the state of cinema right now is in flux, like everything else, like every art form is in a state of flux. From singers to musicians, how are they performing? There's no live audiences. There's no auditoriums to go to. So everybody's making videos and doing the best they can. You can see, or having a Zoom. That's okay, but still, it's not the live, not the live experience that makes it special. Theater is really hurting right now because you can't. There's no more plays to go see. You got to watch them on a TV screen, which is different. Everything's having to change. How do symphonies play for an audience in a live setting? Well, they can't when you can't have a live setting, at least not yet. And so the whole arts is up in flux, and there's got to be new ways, and things are happening in the world out there. Things are changing. People are adapting. I am going to start doing. I've written many plays, a dozen plays, and I want to start doing them. I'm going to do them on Zoom with some performers and actors. It's not going to be the same, folks, but it's going to be something. You got to keep your creative spark alive. We got to have. This has to live. We just can't shut it all down. Anyway. So the new technology we have with our computers, our cell phones, the whole social networking is the new way, and so there's that. So the state of Hollywood films. I grew up loving Hollywood. I love the myth of Hollywood. I moved to Hollywood. I lived down there for 10 years. I tried to work as a screenwriter. I worked on some movies as a low echelon grip, because I loved it at one time. Movies were a huge escape for me. I loved going in there and watching a Western or whatever was happening at the time. This is the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. It was always special for me to go to the movie. I felt at home there in the dark theater with my cola and popcorn, watching the new experience. That's all been on hold, put on hold right now. My faith, I still believe in movies. Jean-Luc Godard, French filmmaker who's turning 90 next year, has made 2 films in the last 4 years. Folks, he's almost 90 years old, and he still believes in cinema. They're experimental cinema. They're not straightforward Hollywood films by a long shot, but cinema's changed, and you could do whatever you can do now, and maybe it has value. And everything's at our fingertips right now because we have these and those. You can make an entire movie on those things. You don't need budgets or rich people giving you money. Nothing. It's at your fingertips. I hope you guys go out into the world and make a difference and make your mark, and don't let this pandemic or the lack of jobs or whatever it's happening right now get you down. This is a good time to get really creative and really you can do some awesome stuff if you don't let the world get you down, and like so it has so many people. And stay strong, keep moving forward, and don't let anybody tell you no. I made a couple independent films and everybody told me no. and I would walk away from them and asking for money until someone finally gave me some money. And so there's always people going to tell you no, no matter what you do. We don't need them. We don't need, let them live their lives, move on from them. Don't let them control you. Uh, and that's the power of and the beauty of filmmaking and art and music. You can do it all in your living room now. You don't need the big system out there. You can be creative as you want to be if you have the notion to do it, and and don't have too much of a pie in the sky belief that you have to be living in a certain area or have a bunch of money to do something. That's not true at all. Um, that's just limiting yourself. The world constantly puts limitations on us. Don't let them stop you from doing what you need to do. Whatever your field is going to go, whatever you want to do with your lives. It could be .com business, it could be Wall Street, it could be health industry, physical fitness, it could be the arts, it could be building cars, working for Tesla, whatever. Don't let anybody get in the way of your dreams because everybody's out to kill your dreams. I'm not kidding, because they think they know better, because maybe they've lived a little longer and they've experienced their failures. Don't let their failures be your failure. Say thank you for their advice and move on from them. Um, there's power in your self-knowledge that you have the ability and capability to do whatever it is you need to do. Yes, it's hard right now. I know, I get it. We got to keep pushing through this. School has changed. I teach in this school, and it's gone totally online. People are balking. The students, they go, and then some of the professors don't want to teach online, and they're quitting. And I go, well, okay, for you, I'll step in and teach your class for you because this is what we do now, and I don't have a problem with it. It's kind of who we are right now, okay? And I know it's got lots of work to do. I know it's not perfect, and I know it's frustrating for everybody, for you and me. So anyway, tomorrow's the last day. You made it through summer, the first summer of our pandemic at Shasta College here. Hopefully you guys are signed up for the fall, or you go elsewhere with your education. Hope you keep going. I always tell people education really never stops, even though you go, well, I'll graduate when I'm 21 and I'm done. Not really. You got to keep educating yourself, or the world will just pass you by. You constantly got to be updating stuff. And I always tell people constantly that knowledge is power. And the more knowledge you have, the more power you will have, believe me. And so when someone says no, if you don't know what they mean or what they're talking about, you get knowledge, and then you can say, okay, you're saying no, I'm walking away from you. Okay. I want everybody to be inspired. And it's hard. Inspiration is hard, especially right now in this pandemic. But it's maybe a good time to reevaluate and get inspired with our limitations of social gathering or wearing a face mask or just having classes online. I'm not what you would call a positive, upbeat guy. I'm not. But that's me. But I can pass it on to others because I believe I have hope. And some people go, you're hopeless. No, that's not true. I am cynical and I'm skeptical, but I'm not hopeless at all. Right now, I'm working on 2 films. Will they ever get made? Will I ever make money off them? Who knows? I don't care. I'm writing a novel. Will that be a bestseller? Probably not, but I'm going to write it. I'm working on new music for a movie I want to do. I'm recording all the stuff at my house. You could do anything now. Desktop publishing, desktop filmmaking. It's all, only thing that's there to stop you is you. Anyway, I always say this, kind of give people a pep talk towards the end. I'm sorry I never got to meet most of you. we had kind of a really lame Zoom meeting. I've gotten better at Zoom, folks. Hopefully next time I see you on Zoom, it'll be better. It's a work in progress, but the whole thing's a work in progress. Keep your dreams alive. Keep pushing forward. And remember, humanities is who we are. And we need them. And we need you to pass it on. Pass your knowledge on now of Rembrandt and Mozart and Alfred Hitchcock, the directors. And I hope you got something out of this and you retain it and it means something to you. And you just don't try to forget it and move on to the next thing. This humanities enriches our lives. It's essentially who we are as a species. And so it's highly important. I had all sorts of lectures I wanted to show you in TED Talk, but we just didn't have the ways and means to pull all this off on this limited thing we could do here on the internet. But literature, read as much as you can. I know it's not that trendy anymore with the younger generation. Keep reading, keep writing. It's what elevates us as a culture and as human beings on the planet Earth. And we're very lucky that we live in a pretty free place. We can maneuver. We're spoiled. We could get our lattes, and we could get all sorts of things that a lot of countries don't have access to. So next time you're bitching about not getting the right latte at the Starbucks, think for 1 minute what somebody in some far off third world country that doesn't have a Starbucks, just think about them for 1 second and just say, what the hell am I talking about? I'm lucky. And so go back with a smile and your face mask and tell Starbucks they're doing a great job, or whomever, or Costco, Walmart, whatever. Anyway, that's really it, folks. I have no idea what you look like. I can't put a name to the face. Some of you have texted me regularly. I still don't know what you look like. So I'm sorry we didn't get to know each other on that kind of level. But maybe we'll see each other some other time. And maybe I'll see you in my film class this fall, or not, where it's all movies for 17 weeks. And I could really cover the subject then. Anyway, that's it, folks. This is it for Summer School, Shasta College, Humanities 2. Hopefully you got something out of this thing. There's a ton of work to do. Get out there and do it. And keep moving forward. Because, the great philosopher Nietzsche said, maybe I'll take philosophy one day, and his famous quote is, in times of danger, the only option is to move forward. And in my humble opinion, these are pretty dangerous times. Okay, kids, students, mothers, daughters, moms, dads, whoever's in my class, thank you for attending. Thanks for sticking it out. And I will see you on the flip side another time. Stay healthy. Bye. I have to